Hello, everybody. I'm back. I thought I would talk about a topic. It's like an inspirational story. I'm not gonna put people's names in there, but it's positive, and I found it, to be very interesting to me. Um, well, here I go. I'm gonna be substituting names and all that. But there was this, I would say, a teenage girl. Um, let's say her name is Jessica. And she came from a very dysfunctional family life. And things were tough on her. She had like um one full sibling that was a sister, and then two half sisters and four half brothers. She was an angry teenage girl. She wasn't vicious or anything, but she had a lot of things bottled up inside. But always there were always some very important people in her life that really lifted her up and gave her some good advice every time. They were family. They were family. And he was an uncle that was so loving. And the other uncle was very loving too, always guiding her um to be aware of certain things. Sometimes scared a little bit, but enough to give her that truth. They really thought that she wasn't listening, but in the end, she really was. They would always tell her to be careful with boys. If a man can't respect you and your wishes, well, he's not worth the time, the pleasure, or anything. And of course, they made Jenifer a little nervous about the birds and the bees. They would basically just give her good advice, but enough to make sure that she didn't make wrong mistakes at the same time. Because her parents were never really there for her. In their mind, they were, but in her mind, they really weren't. They were worried more about their issues, their problems, instead of realizing their daughter had an issue. Well, Jenifer finally went on her own at 17 years old, but she was still trying to finish school. She really was. She was trying to do the best she could do, especially in the situation that she was in. Um, it wasn't easy on her. She did have support, like money coming in to help her live, things like that. But she made a very foolish decision. She met this guy, and you can kind of figure out what happened from there. And then I Jenifer found out 2 months later that she was, I think it was like 2 months, yeah, she was pregnant. She was only 18 years old. She was only 18. There's so much that she wanted to do in her life. She wanted to do so much. She wanted to travel the world, experience new things. She wanted to see different cultures, different environments, different people. She wanted so much. But when she became a mother, it all ended right there. Those dreams were basically shoved down the drain. So she was still continuing school, but when her son was born, he was sick all the time. He would always have a bunch of febrile seizures, and she had to stay home from school. She missed so many days of school that she would have had to she would have to, sorry, um finish that grade that next year. And she was like, no, that was a bad mistake on her at that point. She ended up eventually marrying this guy. Of course, she stayed put for her children. She did. If it wasn't for her children, she probably would have already left, exploring the world, doing everything she wanted to do. But that kind of changed when the children came into the picture. And she landed up with someone that was not very responsible. Um, he was bipolar. One minute he's happy, one minute he's angry. He's just going after the kids all the time, and she had to sit there and defend, and she was scared just to leave her children with him. So she quit school because she didn't trust anybody with her children. Well, Jessica finally, I would say at the age 30, I would say 30, 31, 31. At the age 31, she finally realized, what have I done in my life? I have no job. I can't even get a job. I mean, I could get a job. That she could get a job, but it definitely wouldn't have been paying her good money. It would have been like McDonald's or something like that, which is not bad for, if you're a school or even if you're a manager there, you get paid pretty good regardless. But that's not what she wanted. That's not what she wanted. And then finally, I would say 32, she went back to school because she realized she wasn't going anywhere in her life. She was going nowhere but nowhere. And she had so many dreams and they were all flushed down the toilet. But it's because that she wanted to be responsible. She wanted to have a stable life for her children. And that's what kept her in one spot for so long. And then eventually, when she was about 32, she finally started her high school so she could graduate. And by, yeah, I would say about still 32, around June, July, no, July, she graduated. She really graduated, and she was so proud of herself. She was so happy that she made it that far. And her children were there watching her graduate, some of them, most of them. And her mom and her mom's significant other were sitting there watching her graduate, and her husband. The most happiest moment for everyone, and especially her, because she was finally accomplishing something. And then a month after she graduated, she was trying to find a job, but that's when the school called, a college, and they were telling her all the programs that they had, and she was she was kind of iffy, but she says, "Why not?" So she went for a bachelor's in psychology, and you know what? She got awesome grades through all her struggles, through her bachelor's degree in psychology. She finally completed it. The only issue that she had was when it came to the math, it brought some of the scores down, but she passed. She passed everything, and her GPA was 2.93. It was almost a 3-point average. Um, if it wasn't no math there, she probably would have almost got a four. Yep, she would have gotten a more higher GPA. Um, but she did great, and she was so proud of herself. She really looked at her achievements, and she made it that far. She finally graduated. It took her 4 years to complete the bachelor's. Then in between the 4 years, she took something at BOCES, administrative and medical assistant. It was really just a course that was just starting, so it was really short. So she got some out of it. She still passed it, and she went for internship, but it never went any much further because she was more concerned about finishing her bachelor's, and she got good grades in that. And then after the 4 years was up, she she graduated with her bachelor's in psychology, and she was so proud. She was happy, full of cheers that she did it through all the struggles, especially the math. She was so frustrated, but she did it. She looked at herself with amazement, like, wow. And then after she completed that, I think it was like a month after, Jessica started her master's in mental health and wellness. And it took her a year and 6 months to finish that. And in that, she got high GPA because there was no math in it. It was a 3.93, something like that. She did pretty good. She was so proud of herself that she accomplished all that. And then her first job came, and she was proud of that. She worked for the school, working with kids. She loved working with kids. Um, I don't know why she did, but she just enjoyed it. And I remember her telling me that she felt like she made accomplishments in her life. You know, she succeeded in many things that she wanted to do, but in a lot of things she couldn't do. But she went that far and accomplished that. And then eventually, well, she was working with her husband. She would do body work with her husband, and together they would, you know, do body work on the cars. Come home dirty with all Bondo in the hair and rust on your hands and everything. It was crazy. But it was a husband wife duel. She was happy because she helped her husband bring in, because, you know, each car had a different price on it. And that price for that car is what we were bringing home, including we had to put some to taxes. So so we had to split that in a way that we kind of figured out the taxes and how much we owed, and that's the only part that is not awesome. But when she worked with her husband, it was like it was a happy moment for them because they were working together to bring in the money. They were thriving together. But sadly, um, when she changed her job to a full-time job, working with children again, but in a different field, um, he kind of missed her because she did a lot of work, and he knows it. He knows that she did a lot of work. Jessica did a lot of work, and they just two of them together brought in the dough just by doing the cars. And then he had to hire two buddies, and what all three of them did, only two of us did within a few hours, and it took with those guys maybe like 2, 3 days. So he really missed her working with him, which she still came around when she was done with work and she would help him. But she achieved so much. I mean, she didn't get to travel the world like she wanted to. She didn't get to experience new cultures or, well, things like that, but she was able to um, see different cultures within the school district with the kids, with their parents coming from other countries. So you got to know that. And then also the same with her other job. So she got to learn it that way, and but she really wants to do so much with herself still. But that was the inspiration, is that She started from nothing and then worked her way up to something much more. Now she just got to keep going. She got to keep going. And at her age now, she's almost 50. And so much she still wants to do. She wants another job. Jessica wants another job. But a lot of the jobs that she's looking for, they want more than one degree. I got two, but it's not what they're looking for. They want other things. So she might have to go back to school again. But at the same point as she made it, she made it from nothing to something much more. She grew up when she was a baby. She was a very sick baby. And I think it's because her parents smoked around her a lot. And she was sick all the time. And went to the point where she was almost deaf. And then they had that experiment where they put tubes in the ears. This is when it was new. She told me about this. It's when it was a new treatment that was coming out, and they had some people they chose for that experiment to see if it would work or not. And guess what? It worked. And now that procedure is done within seconds. When it was first being done, it took about an hour. Now it only takes seconds to get done. Very interesting. And she was able to hear again because I think they realized when she was about four, no, 3 years old, she couldn't hear. She was underdeveloped because she couldn't hear. And then suddenly, after that, after she got the procedure done, she can hear, she was able to run, do everything, but she was slow in her learning. She was catching up from what she lost out in her first 3 years. So she was slow in school a little bit until she got to a certain point where they said she don't need that help no more. She got to the point that she was very advanced in her learning. She caught up with herself because she was determined that she was going to be. And then she was the one, even though she did quit school, she went back and she made herself go through school again. She graduated and then she went to college, got her bachelor's in psychology, got her master's in mental health and wellness. And then at the same time, she even went for administrative medical assistant, but it was only like uh I think 6-month class, something like that. Usually it's supposed to be a year and something, but I still went for internship. She still went for internship, and she did awesome. And that's when she started getting her first jobs, and she made accomplishments. But now she wants to get a different job. Now she's missing her ministry. She's missing her Um, she's definitely missing her ministry. And at the same time, she's missing some of her meetings. And that's not good. That's where we, that's where you get your encouragement, your upbuilding. We're brothers and sisters just like you, and they understand you. They understand what you go through every day. You have to go to work, you have to go through struggles, but that she is going to do. She's going to try to accomplish it, and she wants to try to run her own business. She's trying to go about doing that too. We'll see what happens, and I'll let you know more. But she was a very inspiration to me because of where she started from, um, and then where she went to. She went through so much and made it out in one piece, even though she's still going through it. She made accomplishments to the point of um, that she was able to at least get a decent paying job. But now she's missing her ministry. Now she's missing her like her Thursday night meetings because she has to be at work. They knew that I was in I that Thursday nights was her meetings. So they go change that on her and say now you have to work Thursdays. I'm able to go she's able to go on Zoom when she's at her house, but when she's in another house she can't. So, yeah, she's gonna have to start looking around something that would work around her hours. Yeah, even if it's just a Thursday off and the weekend. But um but she's an inspiration to me. I look at her every day and realize how far she took herself. Even though she's went through a lot, she's lost many people in her life, and she still made it out in one piece all together, and that's amazing to me too. She's very strong. She's a very strong person. I want to be strong like that. Make it out in one piece all together, even though you feel like you want to crumble to pieces sometimes. But that was my inspirational story because she was an inspiration to me. She she made it. She's still here. She's all together to a point. Um, she's lost a lot. She's gained a lot, but she's still here. She's still fighting, and she's still gonna keep going. Even though she's almost 50. And that's another thing too. She thinks because she's almost 50, that's why many people aren't hiring her because of her age. They're gonna be sorry. Because believe it or not, people like Jessica, Yep, people like Jessica are unusual. Hard workers, fight for things, they don't stop, and they work hard. There are people younger than her that are lazy. The choices that people make, they're missing out. So now she thinks it's time to try to build up her own business. And she's gonna try it. She's gonna start from scratch and she's gonna do it. It was nice to um, give you the inspirational story of Jessica. She's an amazing person and she tries and she keeps trying. Not perfect. No one is, no such thing. But she tries her hardest to be the best person she could be and better herself every day, to be a better person within herself. She's an encouragement to me. Thank you for hearing me out. I hope you got something out of this inspirational story. It was just a someone that I really am inspired by. Her strength, her determination to keep going regardless, even when bad things come her way. She is an encouragement and very upbuilding. Thank you. I hope you guys got something out of this video. I really do. It was just more of a inspirational story about a person that is important to me and how encouraging she is and upbuilding and how I look and it gives me strength to keep going because I know I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one. I'm not alone. So I hope you got something out of this video. I hope that it was an encouragement in some way. Um if you guys want to message me, you can message below. Um subscribe. It was nice to give you the inspirational story of someone important to me. Thank you. Have a lovely night. Adios. Adios.